Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Reopening Together industry event. I know that right now, every moment of your day is critical, and I want to thank you all for joining us so that we can take these first steps in rebooting the tourism industry together. As citizens, we have come to understand the effects of COVID-19 in every detail across every aspect of society. But as an industry, we have an insight into the deep impact that this pandemic has had that is completely unparalleled. Within weeks, this industry that had been operating at record levels and employing over a 250,000 of people was faced with not only health, but also economic challenges that jeopardized the survival of businesses and thousands of livelihoods. We know that this crisis has not only impacted your business, it has reached into your daily lives, your families, and the fabric of your communities. From the beginning of the pandemic, Fáilte Ireland has worked hard to provide supports through our COVID-19 support hub, where you can find webinars, courses, and advice on finance, on HR, insurance, guidance on various government supports, and much, much more. We have had excellent engagement and feedback on these supports, with over 200,000 visits to the support hub. Through speaking to hundreds of tourism businesses and sector groups on a weekly basis, we try to get the best understanding of these rapidly evolving challenges and also to continue to offer the best support we can. In addition to these direct consultations, we have established a Fáilte Ireland COVID-19 advisory group with leaders from across the industry. This has been an invaluable forum to both help Fáilte Ireland put in place the supports we could, but also to channel feedback from industry into wider government. We participate and fully support the work on the Tourism Recovery Task Force, and Fáilte Ireland will continue to provide support for and raise awareness of the issues facing every area of the tourism industry, both with our department and with wider government. So today, firstly, we're going to look at the latest consumer insights and unveil the new COVID-19 Safety Charter, which will help instill public confidence in the safety standards of tourism and hospitality businesses. Secondly, we will share with you a major new domestic marketing campaign that will be a key part of our recovery plan. Thirdly, you will also be getting a sneak preview of the new DiscoverIreland.ie website. And finally, we will give you a full overview of our business supports initiatives. So once again, thank you for joining us today, and I would like to introduce you to Miriam Kennedy, who will speak about the work we are doing across the Wild Atlantic Way.
Thanks, Paul. Good morning, everyone. Agus míle fáilte gach duine go dtí ar códáil inniu. I'm coming to you today from our Wild Atlantic Way Discovery Point in Spiddal, just a few minutes from where I live, and I'm delighted that so many of you have joined us online today to hear about our plans for how we're going to support you and partner with you in reopening safely and successfully. COVID-19 has had a devastating impact on our sector, and we don't underestimate the challenges that lie ahead. We know it's going to take a whole lot of work by all of us and a lot of resilience to come back to profitability, but I also know that we'll do it. And I hope today will give you reassurance that there are robust plans in place, that we're with you on the journey, and that we'll be supporting you in every way that we can. Before I hand over to the speakers this morning, I just wanted to outline how my own team on the ground will be working with you in the coming weeks and months. At the level of your business, we'll continue to meet with you regularly. We'll be deep diving your business needs and coming up with interventions that meet those needs in the short term and in the long term. And I know that myself and the team can't wait to get back on the road to see you all. At the level of the destination, we've partnered with our local authorities and we've set up destination recovery task forces and strong VDP networks in every county on the Wild Atlantic Way. And the aim in the immediate term for these groups, which are made up of industry in every region, is to have a coordinated approach to reopening, to collaborate and cross-promote to the best of our ability, and to identify any roadblocks along the way that we can remove. And the Wild Atlantic Way at this time of year is usually full of international visitors, and it's so strange and surreal for all of us to see it this quiet. But we do have a domestic market that's ready to move. We need to ensure that they do. It's vital they do. I'll be handing you over to Jill de Azevedo, our Head of Consumer Planning and Insights, who's going to tell you all about what the domestic market is looking for and how you can use that in your destination messaging. Kerry, our Registrar, will take you through our brand new COVID-19 safety stamp how you can register for it, and how you can use it to instill confidence in your customers. Ali Levins, our Head of Marketing Communications, is going to take you through our new domestic marketing campaign, how it's going to reassure the visitor of the safety of our sector, and how it's going to drive short and long breaks in Ireland for the rest of the year. Cadogan, our Head of Digital Marketing, is going to give you a sneak peek of our new DiscoverIreland.ie website, why it's going to be best in class and how it's going to drive more referrals to your business. Martina Bromley, our Head of Enterprise Supports, is going to take you through the huge range of business supports we have on offer. All of these, of course, are grounded in feedback that you've given us, and we have new supports coming on in the next few weeks. There'll then be a Q&A session where you can ask myself or any of the speakers whatever is on your mind, and our Chief Executive, Paul Kelly, will join us again at that stage. A reminder to everyone that these sessions are being recorded, so if you need to see them again or if you feel you've missed anything, you will be able to go back over them. I'm going to hand you over to Jill now. I hope that you enjoyed the morning, I hope that you find it beneficial, and I'll see you again in a couple of hours.
Thanks very much, Miriam. I'm Jill Azevedo, and I head up the Consumer Insights and Planning team at Fáilte Ireland. Over the last few months, we've been really privileged to be doing an enormous amount of consumer research, pretty much from the end of February, actually, this year. And what we're doing is tracking consumer sentiment, understanding what consumers are feeling at the moment, how COVID-19 has impacted on their lives, and of course, really critically, when it comes to our industry, what the implications are for the various sectors. And a lot of these insights, a lot of this research have formed the basis for the recovery plan, which you're going to hear a fair amount of detail this morning. So critical to all of this has been understanding the emotions, what is going on in people's worlds, how have they been feeling about COVID-19 during the last few months. We know the framework is very much the virus, the implications on health, safety and security, but we've seen two core themes that have remained really stable over this period, and that's the level of anxiety and that's concerns about finance. Level of anxiety is always going to be there. This is a bit of an unknown as the roadmaps opens up, and as we engage in the different phases, we are all still nervous about what is that going to look like, how is that going to feel. And as we move through the rest of this presentation, I think it's critical that we bear in mind the need for safety and the need for security when it comes to consumers. And you'll see in their own words, there are a lot of things that they are talking about when it comes to this particular area that are important to them. So we do know there is a level of excitement, there's a level of desire for people to actually get out there and to start doing the things that they usually would, underpinned by this anxiety and framed by the need for safety. So we see people talking about the importance of social distancing. What does that mean for them? We see them talking a lot about safety and the implications that means for safety environments. And really interesting, the desire to be able to see what different businesses, so whether it be restaurants, hotels, pubs, activities, attractions and so on, what they are actually doing very visibly to make sure that environments are safe for them. So using the consumer journey is a great framework and a great way of actually looking at what is happening in consumers' lives and how close they are to booking holidays, what their intent looks like, what the barriers and enablers are in this particular process, and of course what people are looking to experience when they go on their breaks and their holidays this year. We do see, really interestingly, intent is now sitting at 57%. We've seen a sharp increase and a sharp rise in that over the last 2 weeks. And that has been a typical pattern that we have seen in all of our data. The consumers tend to react and tend to move with the various phases as they open up. So consumers have starting to move beyond the dreaming, the surfing the net, the having a look at all the gorgeous places that they can go to seriously considering and planning a holiday, which is a space that they haven't been in before. I do, however, need to caution that within that intent piece, we are still 11% down versus a year ago. So we are not at the numbers that we have been, and we are not going to replace the international visitor, and we're certainly not going to replace the value that the international visitor brings to the category. When we have a look at unlocking the different barriers to intent and what's stopping people from travelling, we see two critical measures coming through. And they're not new because I've just mentioned them. That is the the finance, and that is safety and security. And concerningly, we've seen finance creep up very consistently over the course of this research. 91% of our consumers now talking about the fact that they're very worried about the impact of COVID-19 on their finances. We know people have lost their jobs. Our industry is incredibly close to the dynamic that is happening right now. But people are very worried about spending their money. As a nation, in the last 10 years, Irish consumers have become more conservative with their money. So we have great savings. We know we're at record levels right now, but people are holding that just to make sure that they're ameliorating against everything that is coming. And of course, within that, the need for safety. So what we've seen is as the government roadmap is unlocked, as, for example, our guidelines have been introduced, this relaxation a little bit around that need for safety, but that's very much aligned with the expectation that things will be kept safe for them. So I've talked a little bit about the barriers, but in fact those barriers are enablers. They are the things that consumers are going to be looking for to make their decision or to help inform their decision as to whether or not they are going to travel this year. So health and safety, absolutely a critical barrier. People want to see the hand sanitizers. They want to know that hotels, restaurants and pubs have all the relevant procedures and processes in place to keep those environments safe. Finance is also a barrier, but also that enabler. We have an opportunity to create great value for our consumers and look at that whole value equation and what that means. So do we have the opportunities, for example, to build partnerships, involve in various different levels of collaboration across experiences and activities, and that will all help our consumer to move beyond the barriers that they currently have. Booking behaviour is probably the one thing that's been a little slower to move. So while people have been in their dreaming and their intent phase, it hasn't converted as strongly as we would like in terms of actual bookings. Those bookings are very strongly related, again, to the barriers that we are seeing in place. Now, it is really interesting because one of the things that we do see in this category is that intent and booking behaviours are highly correlated. We're not seeing this time round. And if you look at that within the framework of COVID-19, it starts to make sense as to why people are slower off. And in fact, what's really interesting is we've seen a 2 to 3 week lag with consumers moving their behaviour post roadmaps, post openings into actual behaviour. So their intent might be there, but the actual behaviour isn't there. So we only have about 16% of our consumers who are telling us that they have booked their holiday or elements of their holiday this year. The good news, however, within that is that we have seen 40% of those consumers claiming to have made those bookings in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So we are seeing this shift, and we are going to see this shift a lot more over the next few weeks. So when we have a look at where people want to stay, the pattern is completely normal. It is as it has always been within our industry. Hotels remain the primary choice for accommodation, followed by the self-catering, both paid and and elements where people can go and stay at their own holiday homes, etc. Hotels have a fascinating dynamic. There is a general consensus among our consumers that hotels will have the right policies, that have the right procedures in place, that allow people to feel comfortable, to feel safe. And of course, many families have been stuck with their kids over the last few months, and just the fact that they may not have to cook or they have access to activities like swimming pools, give people a bit of a break, is really important for many families as to why they are choosing hotels. And we do see that skew is towards younger families in this particular space. We, of course, see self-catering coming through and people having their own holiday homes, etc., that they are going to. And people are choosing self-catering because there is a sense that they themselves are then in control of the cleanliness and their safety environment. Of course, there is a question of, does the owner of a self-catering unit apply the right guidelines, apply those right strictures, and in managing it all for consumers. But generally, the point that we want to bring home is this hasn't changed. It's one of the elements that indicates just business as usual, normalisation of behaviour. So where are consumers going? We've seen three distinct patterns start to emerge as we look at the kind of trips that people are going to be engaging in. There is day tripping, there are short breaks, and there are long breaks. The day tripping is really interesting because people are saying to us that they're going to stay at home, but yes, they'd love to get out and explore their immediate surrounds and see and engage in different activities that they may not traditionally have gone to because of a worry of overcrowding and so on. Day trips are centred around the areas that you would normally see. Dublin is the epicentre of a lot of that, but you see that coming through in the likes of Waterford, Cork and Galway in particular. When we move into the short breaks opportunity, you see these territories expanding. So you see people moving into the likes of Kilkenny, up north into Mayo, Sligo. So there's definitely a bigger spread when it comes to the short breaks. They are the typical places that we would see people going to for short breaks. So it's part of that tried and tested pattern that we do experience with our consumers going back to the places they know, they love, they trust. When it comes to longer journeys, Donegal definitely comes into the mix, and pretty much the whole of the wild Atlantic way. People love spending their summer breaks in that part of the world and experiencing all the beauty and all the different attractions that is offered out in that side of Ireland. What are people looking for when it comes to their short breaks? Reconnection is one of the most important pieces. We've all spent the last few months being sort of forced to connect with our own immediate families, and we've all run with a lot of stresses and day-to-day challenges. This is the opportunity to reconnect with family and friends in particular in a different way, in a more joyful way, in a more fun way. It's also the opportunity to just take a deep breath and relax. There have been so many stresses. Just that opportunity to take that time out is really important for our visitors. People are very keen to go back to the places they know and they trust. This is part of the safety element, where people feel that they can control environments because of the safety and security. There's also an element of just getting out, exploring, and seeing a bit more of Ireland than perhaps people have been able to in the last few months. What are our consumers looking to do when they're actually out there? Nothing, again, has changed in this pattern. However, we have seen areas like outdoor activities become more important and the base of those outdoor activities widen. So we have seen more outdoor activities coming in, whether that be extreme sports, whether that be in gardens, or just generally hiking, walking, and engaging with our national parks. Makes a lot of sense. We perceive ourselves as being safer in those environments. Great for families and kids because kids can run around and get off all that energy. But generally, it is the pattern that we've always engaged in when it comes to the kinds of activities out there. Interestingly, when it comes to indoor activities, we do see a desire to go to castles and homes, museums coming much further down the list. There is a lot of concern and there is some nervousness about going into indoor activities, and that's driven by the desire to make sure social distancing is in place, that again the right safety measures are in place. And in our own consumers' words, if I'm being taken through a castle and you're locking me into a room with a number of other people, that makes me uncomfortable. So understanding the guidelines, understanding the procedures that we're putting into place when it comes to things like the various attractions, again, is going to be so important to encourage consumers to come back into that space. I want to wrap up with this one last slide because this really brings it together. So we have talked about an anxiety, an underlying sentiment that is driving our behaviour. We've talked about a real desire and an excitement to get out and about. We've talked significantly about the barrier of safety. And if we focus on these two areas, plus building in a level of experience, understanding how we can engage with our consumers more and bring experiences to life, these are going to be critical opportunities in our recovery plan. So thanks very much, everybody. I hope that this has given you an overview of what is going on in consumers' minds, what they are thinking about, their fears, both their fears around safety, but also their opportunities and their excitement and the desires out there. critical to our recovery plan is going to be focusing on that intent, getting our consumers out there travelling and encouraging them to travel and developing the kind of experiences that are going to be enjoyable and useful. And of course, very importantly in this is making sure that we are keeping the constraints, the financial constraints at the back of our heads when it comes to things like pricing and building value into different experiences. I'm now going to hand over to Tara and she will take you through some of the interesting areas that we've been developing in the safety territory.
Thank you, Jill. Good afternoon, all. My name is Tara Kerry and I'm the Accommodation Development Manager within Fáilte Ireland, and I'm here today to talk to you about COVID-19 Safety Charter. So, to give you a little bit of context first and foremost, Fáilte Ireland research shows visible health etiquette in businesses and safe breaks are strong motivating themes as people plan their domestic holiday this year in 2020. 87% of consumers want to ensure that the appropriate safety measures are in place where social distancing or physical distancing and the relevant hygiene protocols are absolutely obvious to them. So there is now an emotional need for safety, and tourism businesses are on the front line of providing this. The COVID-19 Safety Charter will help instill public confidence in the safety standards of tourism and hospitality businesses as the sector reopens across the country over the coming weeks. So Fáilte Ireland issued sector-specific operational guidelines for tourism businesses on June 9th, in line with government public health advice. So the guidelines were drafted in consultation with trade bodies and associations. We also worked with a number of state agencies and departments, which included LEAF, HSE, the FSAI and others, as well as our parent department, the Department of Transport, Tourism and Sport. The important thing to remember about our guidelines when you view them on the FáilteIreland.ie website is they're all living documents. These documents will evolve as public health advice changes. So, how will all of this work? Well, businesses first and foremost will sign up to the Fáilte Ireland Charter through the FáilteIreland.ie website. A lot of you watching this today will be very familiar with the FáilteIreland.ie registration pages. You'll have signed up for programmes and you will have signed up for various courses, etc. So it's a very simple process to follow. All staff members within your business, and when I say all staff members, I mean all staff members that have returned to work, will have to complete a 40-minute infection prevention control for tourism businesses course. Now, this course was developed with a well-respected professional in infection control. Those that are signing up for the charter, the businesses, must also confirm that they have read and are following the Fáilte Ireland guidelines for reopening that I mentioned earlier for their particular subsector. Now, once 100% of employees who return to work have completed the course, the businesses will receive a charter to display in the premises as well as some online resources, but a little bit more about that later on. Infection prevention control for tourism businesses, a little bit of a mouthful, but it's an important title because it relays exactly what this course is going to be. So why have Fáilte Ireland designed this course? Well, we've designed it to ensure and to highlight that tourism businesses, activities and products are compliant with hygiene and cleaning requirements, which will help in the prevention and control of COVID-19. And importantly, it will give consumer confidence in the actual tourism product. We also want to reinforce the confidence of the domestic and international visitor in our tourism businesses. We also want to ensure that all staff and management understand the importance of preventing the spread of infection, any infection, but obviously and very particularly COVID-19, and ensure the safety of their employees and their customers in line with the government's public health advice. So what does this course cover? Well, it covers what is COVID-19. Now, we may all think we know what COVID-19 is, but do we really know what it is? So again, this just gives us a little bit of a refresher. Employer and employee responsibility, very important obviously, the chain of infection, hand hygiene, and that will be key to ensuring that people actually feel comfortable and confident in the tourism business that they are visiting. The customer welcome, physical distancing, cleaning and disinfection, laundry, and obviously food safety. So by the end of this course, everyone will have infection prevention control for tourism businesses. They will understand it. They'll know their role and responsibility in the business. They will have an understanding of basic precautions, be able to demonstrate good hand washing technique, the capability to apply this knowledge to their place of work, keep themselves, their family, their friends, their colleagues and guests safe. Obviously, that is a very important one, whether it be inside work or outside of work. So following the completion of the course from all staff members who have returned to work within the business at that time, each staff member will receive a certificate of completion. Now, the certificate of completion can only be printed off on your own computer or on their own computer once they have completed a set of questions. So it isn't a matter of just running a video in the background and walking away. People actually have to listen to every word that is said within the course. They have to take it on board because there is little sets of questions throughout the actual course which must be responded to. But at the end of the course, there are approximately 20 questions which must be answered and must be completed to 100%. Otherwise, we cannot issue the individual staff member with the certificate, and also we can't issue the property with the charter. So what will the business or the property receive? It'll receive a charter which is valid for 1 year. PINs and other physical assets, and again these are very important because the consumer is going to be looking for evidence that people have completed courses like this. A digital suite of assets for downloading, social assets. Now we do this to instill consumer confidence in the business that these assets should be displayed wherever possible, physically in the physical building, but also on social media, and they should be prominently displayed. Be proud of them because you and your business have completed this course and have completed all the steps required to actually receive the charter. I would like to wish you all the very best in the reopening of your businesses, and I would now like to pass over to Ali Levins to bring it to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara. So now you've heard all about the COVID-19 Safety Charter. I'm going to share with you what it actually looks like and the plans for a consumer media campaign to ensure that all adults across Ireland will know what it is when they see it when they're out and about. We knew from Jill's research earlier on that she shared that there are very clear direction in terms of what this logo should look like. We know that the word COVID is really important. We need to be quite specific in the circumstance that consumers want to know that we're talking about COVID safety. We know that the tick is a really important symbol that symbolises people feeling confident to go and to move forward. We know the colour green is really important from an industry perspective because it represents Ireland and it represents hospitality and enjoyment. So people want to be reassured so they can enjoy themselves in their tourism experience or in their hospitality experience. And we also know that it's important that consumers know that this is coming from people with or bodies with some credibility like Fáilte Ireland and the Government of Ireland. So this is the logo and the lockup. We've got two versions here to share. The version on the left is the version that will be the main lockup, which has all those elements, including the Fáilte Ireland and the Government of Ireland logo. It's very simple, it's very clean, it's easily identifiable, and it's very distinctive. The logo on the left is just there if you need to put it into a very small space, but we would highly recommend you would use the full lockup as much as possible. Now, when your application has been complete, you will receive a link to a digital toolkit. In that toolkit will be your charter itself. This is a sample of what the charter will look like, and you will be able to display that on your premises. We will also be sending out a starter pack to all businesses who've completed the application form, and in that is some collateral such as decals for windows, staff badges and posters as well. So again, all that's going to be made available to you over the next coming days and coming weeks. And in addition to all that material, we will also be launching a consumer campaign. It's a high-reach, mass impact campaign because we know that it's going to be really important to make this as identifiable and as understandable as possible. And the more people who know and recognise this logo, the more of an impact it's going to have in the industry. So with that in mind, we're launching a campaign on the 4th of July, which is give enough time for as many businesses to be up and have their applications completed and to have their collateral in place before we put this out on air. So this is a sample of the press ad. You'll see it's very simple. It's all about making that logo and that symbol as identifiable as possible. The TVC, again, it's very simple. It's just going to talk to how people want to get back out and enjoy themselves and feel reassured. And if you have this logo and this charter in place, that you have committed to following all these preventative protocols and to employee training. So this is just a schedule. It'll launch, I said, on the 4th of July. It'll run through into September. It's across TV, press, radio, and social channels as well. We estimate about 95% of all Irish adults will see this campaign at least 5 times over the coming weeks. So that's the COVID Safety Charter. We know that must be lots of questions. We would encourage you to go to FáilteIreland.ie, where there'll be a lot more information, or to use the chat function to ask questions at our Q&A in a little while this morning. So now I'm going to share with you our second campaign that we wanted to share this morning, which is our domestic marketing reopening campaign. Before I share with you the plans for the new domestic marketing campaign for reopening, I just wanted to touch briefly on Keep Discovering, because that was the last time I spoke with a lot of you when we shared our new platform for all our advertising. And we launched Keep Discovering in February this year, almost 2 weeks before lockdown happened, and we had a tremendous response. And I just wanted to reassure you that Keep Discovering will still be our long-term campaign for domestic holidaymakers. We had a tremendous response. As I said, we were even trending #1 on launch weekend, and that was thanks to your tremendous support. And Keep Discovering will be back on air later on in the year. And in fact, we're going out and we're filming a lot more content for Keep Discovering across the country, across July, August and September this year. But we did know that it probably was a message that we needed to have a slightly different message for this, unique time that we're facing into. We know from Jill's research that consumers are looking for this balance of safety and desire. The Keep Discovering message was all about that 75% of Irish people who go back to the same place on holidays every year and trying to encourage them to do something different. However, we know at the moment that what people are craving is reassurance and familiarity and a connection with those places and people that they love the most. So it didn't feel quite appropriate to have a Keep Discovering message just for this next couple of months. Hence, we're going to share with you a slightly different creative proposition. There isn't a person on this island that hasn't been impacted by COVID. And one of the things that we know is that COVID has stolen something from everybody. And the way we would like to say is at the moment is that Ireland has probably never felt bigger to people. And it's never felt bigger physically, in the sense that getting into your car and driving down to Bantry from Dublin will be like going to Bali, in terms of, the sense of distance and, the scale of that journey. But it also will feel bigger emotionally. People love Ireland and they love holidaying in Ireland. And one of the things that we know is that this is going to be the holiday of a lifetime. You are never going to forget the first holiday that you've taken post-COVID and post-lockdown. Whether it's a pint in your favourite pub, a picnic on your favourite beach, as they say, these are priceless memories that we're going to create and make over the coming months. So we really wanted to capture that, and so that we would have communications that would really resonate with people. This idea of it never feeling bigger and that COVID has stolen something from everyone really does resonate with all our key audiences. If you're a young adult, you've really missed out on a lot of those rituals, whether it's graduations, whether it's festivals, hanging out with your friends and socialising in summer months. If you're a family, you've probably been cooped up at home, trying to balance homeschooling and work at the same time and not seeing your kids enjoy the freedom that they need to thrive on. And if you are an older adult who have spent, who've just reclaimed some of their independence and you've kind of have the house back to yourself, but probably the last few months the house has been full of boomerangers and you've been caught between that and also probably looking after cocooners as well. So there isn't a person on the island that hasn't been impacted and that is craving a sense of autonomy and freedom and about, getting back to those things that they enjoy and love the most. And that's why we believe that this creative proposition of Ireland Make a Break for It is really the right message for today. We think it's got a tonality of fun and humour, and it is very Irish. And it is about a positive reclaiming something. It's about a sense of ownership, and it is a sense of, urgency. So make a break for it, get out there and have that holiday of a lifetime over the next couple of months. To bring this to life, we have a huge mass impact campaign launching this weekend. We've been able to pull everything forward so that we are going to be ready to go on Sunday, in advance of opening. We'll be investing over €2.5 million over the summer months, and it'll be on all channels: TV, radio, print, digital, social, PR. We are going to be big with this Make a Break for It campaign. Now, to share some of that content with you, I want you to cast your mind back a minute. These are some images that are familiar to everyone who's been looking at the news over the last couple of months, whether it's people queuing to get into Woodies, or staying up overnight to get to pennies, or being in a car queue for 2 hours to get to a McDonald's drive-through. The sense of anticipation you can see that people have for getting back to some of those familiar things that they love and enjoy. Well, imagine how people are going to feel this weekend when they can get to go and explore the whole country. And that's what we wanted to capture. We know that the best brands and the best communications are those that capture the cultural context. And hence we wanted to capture a little sense of what people are going to be feeling and anticipating this weekend. So what I want to share with you now is a piece of film that we'll launch on Sunday, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do. So the big moment. I hope you saw yourself in there. I know I certainly saw myself and my family. And we think it's a light-hearted look that captures that joy of going on holidays. And that we know that's one of the things people love the most, is that getting ready. So it's a bit of fun. It's very Irish, and it really captures that idea of making a break for it. We will have radio ads for all our 4 regional experience brand ads that talks a little bit more about some of the destinations and other things that people will be enjoying, and they will rotate in over the coming months as well. And then to further bring this to life on social and digital channels, well, I'm sure a lot of you have had a world that's sort of shrunken down a little bit over the last couple of months. So if you've been having to make do with the boat and the bath, imagine how it's going to feel when you can get out onto the open seas on a ferry going and seeing dolphins. If you're a golf lover and putting up with, a bit of putting practice in the kitchen, can you close your eyes and imagine how incredible it will feel and how big Ireland is going to be when you're on a links or on a golf course that's dotted all over the country. And if your house has been anything like mine, and there's been a lot of the Minecraft type of castles, well, imagine how great that's going to be to get out with your family and to explore the incredible built heritage that we have all over this magnificent country of ours. So make a break for it. So, to supplement the TV and the social, we have our biggest ever print and press campaign launching this Sunday. The print is going to be every week for the next 12 weeks. It's going to be double page spreads, single page spreads in all the leading titles. We're going to have kicking off with Ireland content, which I'll share with you in a minute, and then we will go into regional experience brand content as well. So this is a sample of the Ireland ad. This will go into the papers this weekend, and we will move over the next couple of weeks into regional experience brands. So this is an example of the Wild Atlantic Way ad, and it'll be focusing on some of those key destinations and things to do. Again, it's about reassuring people, giving them information to inform them of things that will be open, things that they can do and see and enjoy when they go on their holidays in Ireland over the coming months. And this is an example of a magazine ad, which will go more specifically into a particular destination. And to supplement the print and press campaign, we have 2 inserts going out. These are 16-page inserts, and we haven't done these in a number of years, but there are 16-page inserts with circulation of 1.2 million. The first will go out at the end of July, and the second will go out later on in the summer, end of August, early September. And this really gives an opportunity for as many businesses across the country to showcase their offering and their availability to the Irish domestic holidaymaker. We have a partnership with Virgin Media that will go live mid-July, and this is a 5-week programme where we will be embedding and integrating the messaging around Make a Break for It across a lot of their signature TV shows on their digital channels as well. And this is all about encouraging with high reach and high frequency. We'll be able to do advertorial and editorial content here and using some of their on-air talent to tell stories and reassure people that yes, you can go on holiday, yes, there are places open and things to do, and yes, you're going to have a great time and be welcomed. We also have an exciting partnership with RTE that we will be sharing a little bit more of in the next couple of days, but needless to say, RTE have been a great partner and a great supporter, and this is something that we're very excited about, but as I said, we'll be sharing more in the next couple of days. We also have digital publishing partnerships with DMG Media and Levins.ie. These are two of the largest publishing digital platforms in the country. And this will enable us to reach people with much richer, deeper content. So, for example, we will have articles and native articles from county contributors. We'll have bespoke county guides, and we'll have snackable video pieces as well. So this is a way for us to, have a lot deeper and richer content as well. From a PR perspective, we know these first couple of weeks are going to be critical. People want to be reassured, and what better way to do that than testimonials from some of Ireland's most famous and well-loved celebrities. So we have a campaign, an army of campaign ambassadors, and this is just a selection of the first few, who are delighted to work with Fáilte and to be supporting the industry at this really important time. So you'll have the likes of Brian and Pippa O'Connor, Anna Geary, Even Garahy, Greg O'Shea, all out over the next couple of weeks, making a break for it and sharing their stories on all their social platforms. And we think that's going to be really important to make this really visible and high profile, trusted testimonials. We also know that we want to share some stories from real life people, and in particular we're focusing on frontline workers. So we know that the benefit, the mental health benefits of taking a holiday are tremendous. And so for people who've been under incredible stress over the last number of months, people like nurses and doctors and retail workers and teachers, we're looking forward to sharing some of their stories and the incredible time that they're going to have out and about making a break for it across Ireland as well. And then later into July, we're going to go into a programme of focusing on a county a day, and we will tie in with our own channels, and we will be working with county ambassadors to bring each of the counties across Ireland to life in terms of what they offer from a tourism and hospitality perspective. So finally, just to wrap up, it's a significant campaign, Make a Break for It, €2.5 million being invested over the coming months. It's across all channels. We're hoping to make this famous and effective, and we're really looking forward to working with you. We're going to rely on your help to get us information as to what's open and what's on, and to make sure that you work with our regional heads to get that information back into us and we can feed it through so your businesses will be featured and promoted. We're looking forward to sharing phenomenal stories about people who've had great experiences across the country in your businesses and have an amazing time. So I mentioned earlier how we know consumers are going to think that Ireland has never felt bigger. And to reflect that, this is our biggest campaign that we've done. And we wanted to leave you just with one more look at our Big Moment TVC that goes live on Sunday night. And after that, I'll be passing you over to Claire, who's going to take you through exciting plans for DiscoverIreland.ie.
Thanks, Ali. Hello, everyone. My name is Claire Cadogan, and I lead the digital marketing team in Fáilte Ireland. And I'm here today to update you on the work that we're doing on the new Discover Ireland website, launching later this summer. Plans for visitdublin.com content, and importantly, how you, as a tourism business, can benefit from these initiatives. It's no surprise to anyone that behaviours, digital trends, technology has been evolving massively in recent years and indeed in recent months. And some of these key trends has really influenced how we've designed our new site. Some of these trends are of interest, I think, to everybody working in the industry. So a growing volume of websites and information sources are out there now, more and more every month that goes by, that people use to help them book, plan ahead, and validate their choices of holiday. There's no one-stop shop, and therefore searching and planning holidays can be an arduous task at times. Linked to that, top 10s and main attractions are easier to find, and these attractions often pay to be more prominent and visible online. The flip of that is that smaller businesses and often free amenities miss out. Personalised online experiences are more common than ever before, so people have higher expectations of how relevant and targeted the content on your website is going to be from the minute they land. Businesses are optimizing content and learning a lot more about what people are looking for. So using data to understand and optimize how to really ensure that their visitors, when they come to the site, have a very satisfying experience and get what they find. Leading digital sites are also prioritizing high impact imagery and video, because this makes a really compelling case for your business. It really showcases and sells your business in the best possible light. And equally, we can see that there's a growing proliferation and usage of online travel agents, which can be a useful source of business as part of the overall channel mix. And they're now not just all about accommodation, they're also moving into the area of attractions and activities. Equally, leading sites truly put the visitor needs at the heart of what they do. So helping them to access, as I was saying, what they're looking for very quickly, or else they'll lose interest. It's about providing the right content at the right time on the right device to meet their needs. Mobile, and thinking about mobile as you're designing your content, designing and updating your site is very important. Over 65% of traffic to Irish travel websites comes through mobile. And what that means is, from a technical perspective and from a format and content layout perspective, you really need to bear this in mind when you're designing your site to give the best possible experience online. And last, certainly not least, data is crucial to ensure that the experience and the content is relevant for your visitor. By capturing and understanding visitor data, using tools like Google Analytics, it allows us to tailor our communications and content in a way that was not possible before, helping us to increase relevancy and ultimately visitor numbers, spend and dwell times, both on your site and in location for tourism businesses across Ireland. Face-to-face research was very important as part of our discovery for this project. So we talked to a broad range of visitors, from people in their 20s to more mature visitors, to families and everyone in between, to find out what they enjoyed, what frustrated them, what the gaps were on the whole area of planning, booking and enjoying the best holiday they can. We had some interesting findings in that regard. So we found that at the top of the decision funnel was destinations and interest categories. So people thought first, okay, where am I going to go? So they had a broad idea of where they wanted to hit, but very, very closely to that, they had a particular outcome. So they wanted an active break, a foodie break, a cultural break. And these are two big areas that need to be kind of up front and centre when people, to make the decision-making process even easier. Equally, we found that the domestic visitor craves authenticity and authentic experiences. We see ourselves as visitors, not tourists, when we're on holiday in Ireland. And we're particularly looking for fresh, off the beaten track experiences, particularly free ones, which are often harder to find. And yet these can be the things that make a holiday or a trip truly special. It's against this backdrop that, using the latest advantages in technology, data and insights, that we are creating a useful, usable and beautiful new site to be the trusted go-to source for the best things to see and do on holidays in Ireland. We're harnessing everything that is good about taking a holiday in Ireland, and there's lots, and we're putting it online for visitors to access easily. Because when they decide they want to go kayaking, they want to go adventuring, they want to find new foods and have a foodie break, or just make a break for it with no plan at all, we're here for them. We've created a website that puts visitors at the heart and you, our tourism industry, front and centre. And here's a sneak peek of what it looks like. So we're moving from quite a busy, cluttered site, particularly on mobile, to more clean layout. The design and layout really helps the ingredients and the content and the imagery to shine so that people can really get to the heart of booking and planning ahead quicker and easier. We're about to go into another round of consumer research and also with a panel of industry to make sure that when we launch the site, it really works brilliantly for everyone. So question is, what's different about our site to others? So what's new? We know that because people search by destinations and need reassurance of the great range of things to see and do in destination, that they want more, and they want more of this information at their fingertips. So we are updating and providing more comprehensive information, highlights, USPs of the area, food and drink options, and things to do for all of the counties in Ireland and for all of the popular tourism destinations across the country, so that we can reassure people they can have a really great time when they go. Equally, we are going to be showcasing authentic experiences and creating that content ourselves. This will be content you won't be finding on any of the other leading sites out there, and we'll be leveraging our unique insights as Fáilte Ireland to add that value. And last and certainly not least, at a time when referrals and booking matter most, we will be driving referrals in a more effective and efficient way for people who come to our site, bringing them straight to you. And we'll be doing all of that in a way that is designed and streamlined and minimalistic. The site is built to let the content shine, as I was saying, giving the right mix to inspire our visitors to explore more about destinations and the great things to see and do in that location. We are very excited about this opportunity to provide unique local content. We are going to be leveraging our network of Fáilte Ireland employees and local experts to create these tips so that people don't miss out and they really can get the best out of their holidays. So things like local tips for destinations, local tips for businesses, don't miss. You can't miss out on, the sunset on this beach. Bring a picnic, bring your friends, bring your family, and enjoy the sunset, the spectacular sunset on the beach when you visit. When you're visiting Schlievely cliffs, the best way to really experience the drama of those cliffs is to hop on a boat on Teelan Pier and enjoy an unforgettable experience. So tips and value that we can add everywhere at every point along the way to make sure people get the most out of their holidays. Equally, user-generated content. So we know that people love sharing their experiences, and it's actually a really compelling way for others to understand what's on offer. So we have some tools and software that will allow us to really harness the best UGC out there for, again, destinations, for businesses, and everything in between that we can upload onto our site to give to produce a really good shop window and sell your business in the best possible light. So on launch, we will have sections within Discover Ireland that will be linking out to our regional brand sites. So when people are looking for Wild Atlantic Way content or they're looking for Ireland's Hidden Heartlands content, they will be brought directly through to those sites from Discover Ireland. Later in the year, we will be migrating those sites into the heart of Discover Ireland, taking all of the great content into that central location that will get more visitors collectively and be supported ongoing and throughout the year, benefiting from our advertising and promotional campaigns. So, all of this is to ensure that you, our industry, show up brilliantly and are bookable for our visitor. There are some actions that we'd love you to pursue after listening to me today to make sure that you are really optimizing your digital footprint. So the first thing I would say is please review and update your listings on DiscoverIreland.ie with particular focus on the quality of the imagery. So we're looking for high-res imagery, we're looking for inviting, compelling imagery, using descriptive copy and concise copy, and making sure that we have the appropriate booking links for your business. We have updated our Get Listed process, so it's a lot easier to use and more streamlined, and you'll find it on FáilteIreland.ie. We'd encourage you to link to our site from yours, driving relevancy and authority on Google, whilst giving your visitor access to all the best things to see and do at one click. Also a reminder that when you've completed your COVID-19 Safety Charter application, your listing will be updated to reflect the badge on the site, which will give further reassurance to your visitors that your business is taking the appropriate care and precautions in this new world. Remember to claim your Google business listing so that you control the information that the visitor sees when they find you on Google, making yourself as accessible and as appealing to potential guests. And last, and certainly not least, be social. Tag in our Discover Ireland and regional brand social channels to increase the reach and relevancy of your content so that we can also share with our communities who are very highly engaged and actively looking for this content and for this to see your businesses in action. So with that, I will say thank you. Thank you for listening. And I'll now leave you with a video to recap on this exciting new initiative and give you more of a sense of the new site. I look forward to working together to unlock the potential of digital in driving the recovery for the tourism industry over the weeks and the months ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Fáilte Ireland's top priority is supporting Ireland's tourism and hospitality businesses to survive, reopen and recover from the catastrophic impact COVID-19 has had on our industry. Over the past number of weeks and months, our enterprise development team has been working hand in glove with the industry to create an extensive range of business supports to guide you through these unprecedented times. These have been developed in consultation with industry experts to meet your most immediate and urgent needs, and really help your business reopen and recover effectively. These supports have covered everything from closing down effectively to reopen, managing the HR implications of the crisis, financial recovery supports, guidelines for reopening and ways to optimise your operations, all providing expert advice to industry at a time when they most need relevant and practical direction and support. Now, as we have a firm date to reopen, we are focusing in on the supports that will help businesses to maximise their sales, marketing and digital efforts. It is really all about supporting businesses to drive their sales directly through their own website, through their own CRM and through their sales teams. And most importantly, now aligning those initiatives to the domestic marketing campaign which has been launched in the next couple of weeks. So what will this range of supports look like? Reshaping the experience for the domestic market. There is real potential for businesses to rebuild and reshape their offering for the domestic market, and our supports will focus on saleable experiences. And what does that look like? Crafting a great experience will be very important. Making sure that it is compelling for the domestic market. Ensuring clarity for customers about exactly what your offer and price includes, and most importantly, offering that safety reassurance. You really have to articulate the value add elements that will give your offer that standout. Most importantly, pricing, break-even point. There will be a pricing calculator with simple instructions on video and supporting guide.
The purpose of the saleable experience document at this time is to achieve confirmed bookings from the domestic market. The saleable experience document plays an important role in putting your destination on the radar of domestic customers, putting your tourism business on the radar of domestic customers, and a really important function of the saleable experience document is that it helps your business stand out in the marketplace by providing absolute clarity on what is for sale and highlighting the value for money that is offered within each experience.
And then most importantly, optimizing web content and SEO to drive that sales conversion. So just to recap, the range of supports will include best practice advice, creating and crafting saleable experiences, and pricing supports for accommodation, activities, attractions, food and drink. We know that the research is telling us that the reconnection and freedom to travel, as well as reassurance and safety, are the main drivers for consumers right now. To ensure businesses get the consumer from a planning mindset to conversion, we have created a suite of supports online, which are about the online content, effectively all about what you can do to promote what's in your shop window. So what does that range of supports look like? Create a value offer. Pricing is all about value and it doesn't have to come cheap. Compelling imagery and video content that brings your messaging to life at a low or no cost. Messaging. Ensure your offers and your messaging is clear and easy to find on the website and is supported through your social media activity. Safety. The reassurance about having fun while feeling safe will never be more important. When consumers are holidaying or visiting with you, make sure to have your COVID safety policy visible on your website. Upselling. What can we do there? Some midweek offers, putting out accommodation plus dining plus activity, upselling and getting that extra revenue stream. And during this period, it's really important to create a standalone landing page that's easy for consumers to access the offers and track bookings from your side. So to recap, your own website can be a powerful sales tool, giving customers the right messages, the right offers and packages, and the reassurance about having fun while feeling safe when holidaying or visiting with you. And really, your website is that engine to convert bookings. And just to get a little taster of some of that expert digital advice, we're just going to hear a little clip from Ian Cleary.
When you've put all the elements of a landing page together, this is what it looks like. Now, this is not a real business, but it will give you an idea of what you need to do to create a compelling offer that drives sales. Our headline is selling an escape for the weekend, and we all certainly need an escape. Now we go into details of the offer and we reframe it with a problem followed by a solution. Spent too long in the house and itching to get out? That's definitely a problem we have. Now, we outline the actual activities available with a good image and a short description. People don't really read long descriptions, so keep them short and snappy. Next is the important part, the actual offers. We have given 3 offers tailored to specific markets and include an incentive to sign up for each offer. In the next section, you want to convince people there's plenty to do and see in the area. They want to get out and about and do other things, so make it clear they will not be bored. And finally, you may have some contact information just in case that offer still doesn't answer all the questions.
Rebooting international leisure sales is also another hugely important area. Businesses are now having to reconsider and make changes to the way you offer experiences for groups to ensure firstly the safety and then the restricted visitor flow in line with current and possible future safety guidelines. What will this mean? You will have to reshape your saleable experiences offer, and you will have to reshape your sales pitch to prepare to meet buyers and negotiate those new experience, new contracts going forward. What does that range of advice look like? Recraft your saleable experience and your sales pitch, giving that reassurance and clarity of message in presenting your value and your price. Generating that compelling content, never more important. An easy-to-use pricing calculator that will help calculate the pricing, negotiations and contracting that's been done online. Also guidance and consideration for writing your terms and conditions for B2B contracting for accommodations, activities and attractions. Tips on preparing and performing in virtual meetings. We'll now have all online sales appointments, so it's including building that business relationship online and getting the most from virtual meetings. And really important, preparing for Virtual Metal, which is one of Ireland's biggest buyers events in Ireland, and that is now going to go online in July, and we're working very closely with the commercial development area to bring that to life. So we've created a range of supports to help industry optimise the sales opportunities from this great event. So just to recap, all of the Fáilte Ireland business supports have been created with inputs from leading experts, industry, regional brands and sectors to deliver practical solutions and advice that directly address the challenges your business is now facing. These are constantly evolving, and all of these supports, whether it's financial, HR, operational guidelines and sales and marketing, are now all available online through the Fáilte Ireland Business Support Hub, where you can search by sector for the supports and the areas most relevant to your business. If you do need further advice or require guidance on any tailored support for your business, please contact your local Fáilte Ireland representative or email business supports on business.supports@fáilteireland.ie. So we're now going over to the Q&A panel. I'd like to now hand you over to Miriam Kennedy, Head of Wild Atlantic Way.
Good morning again, everyone. We are joined now by our speakers and our Chief Executive, Paul Kelly. Lots of questions coming in for all the speakers, but Paul Kelly, I'm going to go to you first because the burning question of the day coming in from industry is around liquidity measures, of course. And do you think we will have tourism-specific financial supports in the coming weeks or months?
Thanks very much, Miriam. And look, just before I answer that question, it would be remiss of me not to, at this point in time, just take the opportunity to thank a few people. I appreciate how amazingly difficult this has been for everyone in industry, as I said earlier, But in terms of, I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of the people who've been trying to support industry in that. I'd like to thank people across all, we've worked with people across our own department and people across various other government departments. And I'd like to thank all of them for their support and working with us as we try to do what we can to help industry. But most of all, I suppose I'd like to thank the team in Fáilte Ireland who have been just amazing. I've been so proud to work with the team in Fáilte Ireland. The early mornings, the late nights, the weekends, the constant stream of effort and energy that has gone into all of the work that people have been doing across the last number of months. And I'd just like to say that in front of all our industry partners, to say that the fantastic work that the team in Fáilte Ireland, the best efforts that people have put into to support our industry partners. Our industry deserve it, and it's an incredibly challenging time for everyone out there. And I just wanted to acknowledge the work of Fáilte Ireland in supporting those. Coming then to your question, Miriam. Yes, look, we've been feeding in through all of the feedback we've been getting from all of the key account calls that you and all of your team have been doing along the Wild Atlantic Way, and also the work we get from our advisory group. We've been listening closely and feeding in all of the feedback from industry, all of the requirements of industry in terms of what they need, and we've been feeding that into wider government. You know, it is important to say that, you know, government policy is not the remit of Fáilte Ireland. That's the remit of the government and the departments, etc. And so our real role is, I suppose, is to gather the feedback from industry, to understand and disseminate it and feed that in so that those policy decisions can be informed as well as possible. I think, like everyone involved in tourism, we're all waiting with bated breath for this July stimulus package and see what might come out from it in terms of further supports for the industry. We fed in a number of proposals in terms of different proposals for grant schemes to help people with covering the costs incurred while closed, proposals for grant schemes to help people adapt their business and cover some of the costs that they've incurred, that they need to incur now as they adapt their businesses for COVID, and also proposals around getting some further liquidity measures in terms of working capital loans, etc., out into the tourism industry. In addition, we support all of the work of the Tourism Recovery Task Force, and there's going to be a set of recommendations coming out from them imminently around further measures that the Tourism Recovery Task Force are calling on the government to put in place to support the industry. So we're I think like everyone, hopeful that some or all of those can be delivered.
Thanks, Paul, for that. And just sticking with the National Recovery Task just for a minute, I mean, one of the big issues coming up with every industry partner is around the wage subsidy scheme, and on the West Coast in particular, around seasonal staff. Is that on the agenda for the Recovery Task Force?
Yes, it absolutely is, and one of the things that the Recovery Task Force is looking at and recommendations are around the extension of the temporary wage subsidy scheme and around the inclusion of seasonal workers in the temporary wage subsidy scheme. And that was a bit of feedback we got very early when the temporary wage subsidy scheme was developed and fed that in, and I know that in terms of that's been something that is being pushed hard on our behalf into government as well. So look, we just need to see. Obviously, there's an awful lot of demands on government. There's an awful lot of demands on government finances. But look, I mean that is certainly on the agenda.
Thanks, Paul. I think people will be relieved to hear that. It's come up a good bit with all our regional partners, and I think it's great that it is on that agenda, and we do have a direct line into government on it. I'm going to come to Ali now. Ali, there is great positivity around the campaign and around the ad. Can't wait to see it air. I think it's airing on Saturday. Is that right?
That's right. We've decided to move it forward a little bit, so it's going to be first on air Saturday night at 6 o'clock on the RTE 6 o'clock news. Yeah.
Great. And everybody asking, how can they get involved?
Sure. Well, I hope everyone will have seen from the presentation that there's quite a comprehensive, and there's multiple channels. And we are very conscious that we do need to showcase as many businesses as possible across the country. So we've sort of looked at it. There's probably opportunities for, in the hundreds of businesses to form part of the campaign, whether that's in a press ad, in a radio ad, part of our social content, to have a visit from one of our influencers or our testimonials. What we would ask people to do, though, is what we really need is information as to who's going to be open, and some of that just general information that then we can decide what's going to get featured and what isn't. We'll be working with all our regional teams to make sure that there is a fair representation of all the different types of businesses across the country, and that's the main thing. So please do, first of all, get your information uploaded and up to date on our TCS scheme. That's, first of all, to be part of some of that media. The second thing is, when I mentioned Keep Discovering and how much the support from the industry when we launched that earlier on in the year, and we really hope for a similar response at the weekend. So there will be social tags, hashtag make a break for it, hashtag feels bigger, as part of a digital toolkit that will be available before the end of the week. So we'd love people to try and make this campaign famous over the weekend. There'll also be some social assets to be used, and that will be distributed to you all in the coming days as part of the toolkit.
Thanks, Ali. And just from my own team, we'll be in touch with all of you to make sure you know when your destination is being profiled. And just at the latter end of the summer, September, I know, was a concern for everybody. We'll be ramping up our efforts at that stage, and our commercial development team will have a huge range of sales platforms for everybody at that stage to get involved in the campaign. And we'll have another mini conference in a few weeks' time to tell everybody a little bit more about that. Ali, one more question that has come in particularly from our border counties. Yep. Will we have a campaign in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, that's right. So we've been watching the situation in terms of advice and travel advice from the UK government, and as that has evolved, been waiting to place our media. So we will be supporting the Make a Break for campaign in the Northern Ireland market, probably from back end of next week. So we are very conscious of the importance of our Northern Ireland visitor, particularly in border counties and also in Dublin as well. And just to reiterate the last point ago, we are acutely aware that September is a critical month for the industry. From Jill's research that we've seen, we know that actually the highest intention to travel is sitting in September at the moment. What we have to do is convert that into actual bookings over the next the next number of weeks. So the campaign will go right through to the end of September, probably into early October, before we transition back into Keep Discovering. But to your point, yes, the campaign will be featured in Northern Ireland, and that will be on TV and press and radio.
Great. And one last question, Ali. How will we know if the campaign has been successful? Is it intent? Is it? I know we'll be picking it up on the ground when we talk to our industry partners about occupancy, etc. Yeah. But what's our primary mechanism for the success of it, I suppose?
Great. Well, I'll just go. The first one for me is will we be famous? Will people be talking about it, and will there be good response? Yeah. But I'll actually ask Jill to answer this, because she will give you the technical, objective answer as to how we will know that this has worked.
So we'll be looking at, thanks Eddie, by the way, we'll be looking at a number of key metrics. There is the consideration piece, but very clearly moving consideration into intent and then watching our booking space. So intent is going to be the critical measure in the dynamics of unpacking, how successful things are. And we'll be really close to that, not just from the various consumer groups, but in the particular regions of the country. And I think really importantly, as Miriam actually alluded to, September is going to be really important. So we will track this all the way through, and that tracking is ongoing. So that's going to be really insightful and very useful. And I am fairly sure that Ali will work really closely with us if we need to do any additional work in our campaigns, and likewise with the various regional teams.
Thanks, Jill. I'm going to stick with you now that we have you. And I just wanted to tell you that there's lots of comments coming in around these consumer insights. People can't get enough of them. We can't get enough of them. Where can the industry access those? And will you keep on doing that over the summer?
So thank you very much for the kind words, everybody. Yes, the research is available to everybody. It's available on the Fáilte Ireland site. And of course, you can contact Miriam and her team or reach out to my team, and we will make sure that we get all the information to you. The research happens every week. We have been reporting weekly. We're probably going to spread out those reports over the next few weeks just to make sure that we are on top of sentiment and on top of any particular dynamics that may emerge over the sort of opening up phases and people start to travel again.
Yeah, I might just add that, so tomorrow you'll be getting a follow-up from today's presentations, and included in that is some key fact sheets about some of the information that was presented, including on the insights.
Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks. And we're going to turn to Tara now. Tara, I have so many questions for you that I'm never going to get through them all. I feel I should be doing a rapid fire round with you. So the first question to you is, will the safety charter be available in other languages?
Good afternoon, Miriam. The safety charter will be available in English, but just to make everybody aware that the English in it, and particularly in the infection control programme for tourism businesses, is very clear and very easily understandable.
And I have lots more. So a technical question here. When I reopen, I'll only be bringing back some of my staff, and I don't know when I'll be bringing back the remainder. Does that mean I can't get the charter?
Oh, absolutely not. We are aware that there will be a substantial number of businesses that will not be able to take back, even though they want to take back all of their existing staff. So what we say is you register initially for just those that you are returning, and then every time another member of staff comes back, even if it's only one person at a time or it's 10, you can actually go back onto the site and just input their names. They'll get a link to the infection control programme, and then that means that all of your team are well aware of how to control the spread of the infection.
Thanks, Tara. And another question that's just come in that says, I'm not registered with Fáilte Ireland. Does that mean I can't get the safety charter?
Now, as I think everybody probably knows at this stage, we've actually developed a set of guidelines for the near enough all tourism-related businesses. We've accommodation providers like hotels, guest houses, bed and breakfast, etc. There's any number of them. We also have attractions, activities and food and beverage operations. Now, we develop these guidelines in association with sectoral bodies. So you will find your set of guidelines on the FáilteIreland.ie website. If you don't, you are welcome to contact us just in case you're misunderstanding which set of guidelines you should be attached to. Now, there will be a number of businesses, particularly accommodation businesses, that may not, for whatever reason, have entered in under the National Quality Assurance Framework previously. But my team and I would be absolutely delighted to have a discussion with any business that actually wants to find how they can actually register or become approved as an accommodation provider within Fáilte Ireland. So everything you need to know is on the FáilteIreland.ie website. But in the event you want to ask a question, we're here to answer anything that we can.
Thanks, Tara. And the last question that we had in on this was, how will Fáilte Ireland ensure compliance?
Well, we are going to be providing further information on this in the coming days. However, we will be spot checking businesses, and this has been welcomed by the industry, that we will be dropping in, saying hello, and just ensuring that there is compliance with the guidelines.
Thanks, Tara. If you see me looking at my phone, I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any more questions coming in.
No problem.
I think we have covered most of them there. Paul Kelly, I might come back to you just for a minute to see if you'd like to leave our industry partners with any words of wisdom before we wrap up.
Thanks very much, Miriam. Just once again to thank everyone for tuning in today, and to wish everyone the very best with as they seek to reopen and seek to get going, and to reassure them of our commitment and our support to stand shoulder to shoulder with them in the coming weeks and months as we try to navigate this new world. And it is going to be a new world. I mean, I think all of us are used to that sense of, you know, when we used to go shopping before, we didn't have to queue outside the supermarket like we've been doing for the last number of months. So things are going to be different for a while, and you know, I'm sure we're all aware we need to make those adjustments. We need to hopefully differences over time as the health situation hopefully improves. The differences will get less, or we'll get used to how to manage them better. But you know, it is going to be challenging. We appreciate that. It is going to be different. That's going to take us all to be open to that kind of change. And I really just would encourage everyone to, you know, in terms to engage with the Make or Break for It campaign. You know, in terms of Jill and Ali spoke about some of the early indicators we're going to be looking at to see if that's working. But the ultimate indicator is you're going to tell us, because the ultimate indicator is it driving business into your businesses? Are you selling more rooms? Are you getting more people into your visitor attraction? Are you getting more people doing your activities, etc.? So that's what it's all about. To really encourage everyone to engage with that. We'd encourage everyone to engage with the safety charter in terms of that is, you know, not just good for health, but it is really good for business. I mean, the research work that Jill and her team have done have shown how important it is that people get that reassurance. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for people to get their staff trained to in a very difficult situation with very challenging guidelines. We understand that, but to try and make it as easy for people as they can to adopt that and to provide that reassurance that their customers are going to really value. You know, so just to wish everyone the very best and say thanks again for joining us.
Thanks very much, Paul, and thanks to all our panel this morning. A huge thank you to all our industry partners for joining us. As a follow-up to today, you will all receive the event guide, and these sessions will be live tomorrow for anybody who wants to go back over or forward them on to anybody who's missed it. From my own perspective, I cannot wait to get back on the road and see you all in person. My team feel exactly the same way. We'll be seeing you very shortly. I want to wish you the very best of luck with reopening. It's very challenging, but it's also very exciting to get our doors back open again. As Paul said, we will be with you every step of the way. I'm going to leave you now with a short video from Minister Griffin. And again, the very best of luck to you all.
Hi everybody, I'm delighted to be asked today to record this short message as part of Fáilte Ireland's Virtual Industry Day. I know that the last number of months have been extremely difficult and challenging for people, but today marks an important milestone as we prepare to reopen for business, and I hope that you will find today's session to be informative and helpful. The government is extremely concerned about the huge challenges that lie ahead, and I'm absolutely aware of the huge impact that has been made on the tourism industry since the arrival of COVID-19. That's why the work of the Tourism Recovery Task Force is critically important, and it's also hugely important that every good idea is brought forward and given full consideration, and that ultimately the report of the Tourism Recovery Task Force is acted upon. And that's something that I'm passionate about, because we will need to see that action to ensure that tourism recovers to the optimum level in this country. But today I'm very encouraged to see the Safety Initiative Charter from Fáilte Ireland, and also as well the details of Fáilte Ireland's 2020 domestic marketing campaign. We know that the domestic market for the remainder of this season is going to be hugely important and will also be important in years to come as well. And I want to commend all of the team in Fáilte Ireland for the huge work that they've been doing throughout the COVID crisis, and also the work that they've done in preparation for today, and the work that will be needed to be done over the coming weeks and months as we try to recover from this huge shock that has befallen the entire industry. To all of you operators on the ground, I can assure you that I will be doing my very best to try to ensure as many supports as possible for you into the future. We have had some supports to date, and I know that many more are needed. And I wish you all the very best as business reopens, and hopefully look forward to seeing many of you throughout Ireland in the weeks and months ahead. Thank you.